TPMNation.com.
And I have to push the right button to answer it. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, screw Glenn R.J. Ouellette.
How dare
it's
you?
National Vietnam Veteran Day. I'm switching my vote to the Ghost of John McCain.
You're switching your vote. My goodness. All right. John Hopwood switching his vote in our poll to the Ghost of John McCain. There you go. We'll allow that. We'll allow you to switch a vote. So if you're just joining us, well, hello to my old friend Phil Denoncourt, the third. But I just growing up, I just knew him as Phil Denoncourt. He joins us in the Facebook live chat. Hello, Phil. So if you're just joining us, of course, the poll is still up. If you don't know the poll that John Hopwood was referring to with that call, it is up on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page, and Jenny did put a link to it in the Facebook live chat. You can vote until 4 p.m. on Monday. That's when we'll be tallying up the final results. Who is winning the war of words, this ongoing feud between President Donald Trump and the ghost of Senator John McCain? Who do you think is in the lead? And with John switching his vote to the ghost of John McCain, I'm telling you, right now, without giving away any of the numbers, right now, the ghost of John McCain is crushing President Trump in this.
You're exactly right.
Yes. Hello to Dottie Davis-Thompson in the Facebook live chat. Hello, Dottie. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Oh, hi. It's Representative Hamer.
The Honorable Representative Heidi Hamer. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Are you calling to vote in our poll?
Yes. Could you tell me the poll again, please?
So the poll is, who is winning in this current feud? It's really the hottest feud in Washington, D.C. between President Donald Trump and the ghost of Senator John McCain. Who do you think is in the lead, getting the better of his opponent in this war of words?
The ghost.
The ghost of John McCain. Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's incredible, Heidi. I'll tell you, everybody's voting for the ghost of John McCain. I mean, he's really, this may be his greatest victory over our president.
We'd never vote for Trump. I've never voted for Trump, and I never will.
Ah, in any kind of poll, I understand. Is that why you're calling, Heidi? Or do you have...
Yes.
Oh, very nice. Okay, I didn't know if you had something else on your mind, but this poll, I'll tell
No.
you, it's on fire. Everybody's voting. Everybody's excited. I should have done this sooner.
Oh, we're going to go try out the new Trader Joe's too.
Oh, very nice. Where is that?
Yes, in Bedford.
In Bedford,
along with everybody else.
Oh,
They just opened today.
Oh, very nice. Well, that is outstanding,
Yes.
Heidi. Yes. And
Yes.
will you be attending Glenn R.J. Ouellette's production of Our Town? He's a big star now, you know.
We can't wait. I hope they bring out the birthday cake.
There's a birthday cake in the play? I didn't know that. Well, I'm going to that. I had no idea.
Well, wasn't there the birthday cake that he froze?
Oh, right. Yes. The cake that, the cake that no one was allowed to eat, proving that, you can't always have your cake and eat it too. Sometimes you can have your cake, but you have to put it in a freezer.
I guess it's frozen in different spots in Manchester, from what I recall.
Yes, that's right. You're right. Yes, the cake was divided up, I believe, and put safely tucked away in various freezers around the city, which I think is a fantastic idea. If we're ever invaded and a foreign entity comes onto our shores looking for the cake, they're never going to be able to put the whole thing together.
Nope, they never will.
It's quite brilliant, actually.
Yes. Okay, well, have a good day.
All right, Heidi, thank you for the call.
The show.
Thank you very much. Enjoy Trader Joe's. All right, bye-bye. All right, the great, the Honorable Heidi Hamer. She is a New Hampshire state representative, so wonderful to hear from her. And let's see, we have another call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Did Heidi Hamer just vote for the ghost of John McCain?
She also voted for the ghost of John McCain. Yes.
Switch my vote back.
Oh, my goodness. Really? Oh, all right. Well, it looks like the ghost of John McCain just lost a vote. John Hopwood calling back to switch his vote back to President Trump. But I have to tell you, the Ghost of John McCain is still way, way ahead in this poll.
I'm very happy with where we are.
Yeah, well, I don't blame you. You're crushing it. You are crushing it, Senator. Do you still say, I mean, I know that even, if someone's a senator, even once they leave office, you still call them senator, but you still call them senator when they're a ghost. I don't know how that works. I don't have a lot of experience communicating with politicians in the afterlife. I did have a very strange experience many years ago, however, with a journalist in the afterlife. It was, remember Bob Novak? I mean, he died, what was it? It's probably more than 10 years ago now, but he was a co-host on Crossfire. Remember that show, Crossfire on CNN? He had passed away, and there was one night I remember coming home. I get into the apartment building where I was living at the time. It was a true story. I get home from work. It was at night. I walk into the apartment building. I'm walking down the hall, and I swear to God, from the other side of the door of my apartment, I heard Crossfire. And I was like, oh, my God, what's going on? And I opened the door. I thought Bob Novak was in there. I thought he'd risen from the dead, but he was nowhere to be found. So I was haunted by the ghost of Bob Novak. Crossfire. That was the one thing I liked about him, except, boy, that didn't sound good in my headphones. I probably, apparently my Bob Novak impression, which is awful to begin with, is not something I should be doing into this microphone. It is exactly 4:30. This may be our guest. Hello, is this Dr. John D. Rich Jr.?
No, and there's no cake in our town.
Well, that's disappointing. All right, there's no cake in our town. Well, as long as it's in Manchester somewhere, the cake. Oh, let's see. Bob Burl says it was Pete. Oh, yes, Pete. Our friend Peter Cochran. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Is this Dr. John D. Rich Jr.? Hello?
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 Hi.
Is this John? Hey, how are you? How are you doing?
Okay.
Haven't talked to you in...
Are we on the air?
We are live on the air.
Holy moly.
I know.
I'm back on the radio.
I even have... I brought the air horn in especially for you because it's been so long.
Okay.
That's an exclusive air horn.
Do air horns make you think of me for some reason?
Yes. I don't know what it is. I don't use the air horn for anything else. I only use it and will only use it going forward for when you join us on the show.
Wow.
That's a special air horn.
We'll have to get back into the regular rotation again.
Yes, yes.
Things have been busy.
That would be lovely. And by the way, before I forget, do you have you cast your vote, or do you want to cast a vote in our poll that we have going on online?
Maybe. What's the poll about?
The poll is, who do you think is currently winning the ongoing war of words, this feud that has engulfed all of Washington, D.C. between President Donald Trump and the ghost of Senator John McCain? Right now you laugh, but right now the ghost of John McCain is crushing it by like 10 to 1 in this poll.
I'm very happy with where we are.
And he's been haunting the studio.
Well, I mean, I'm only laughing just because I don't believe in ghosts. So, like, from a literal standpoint, I guess Trump would have to be winning because he's the only one that's actually saying anything.
Oh, so you're voting for Trump. I don't know what more proof you need. I mean,
I'm John McCain.
See? I mean, clearly the ghost of John McCain.
Is he there in the studio?
He is here in the studio.
Wow.
I mean, you can't see him on camera because he's a ghost. But somebody.
So what does he say about the fact that perhaps he's not a hero because he was captured? Does he have a retort for that?
I have a clear record of bipartisanship.
Oh, he's dodging the question there. He is dodging the question there. That's
well, that's for it. He's a politician, that's for sure.
You know, that's an interesting statement, isn't it? Those kind of remarks are very hurtful.
Oh, there we go. Just took him a minute to
Okay.
get to it. You know, those kind of remarks are very hurtful, apparently. So even in the afterlife, the ghost of John McCain is still very hurt by President Trump's comments.
He won't rest until he's vindicated, apparently.
Apparently, that must be what it is. I'm going to have to get one of my ghost hunter, ghost chaser friends, whatever you call them, in here and do something about that, because
That requires a cool hand at the tiller.
yes, it does. Yes, it does. Ghost of
So
John McCain.
Was there a sale like on your favorite sound app?
No, that's
John McCain quotes or
no,
something like that?
no. Now look, here's what happened. So because I started this poll, apparently I summoned his ghost. I've been doing some reading. So I've been doing some research online, and it turns out anytime you have any sort of online poll or questionnaire or contest or anything that involves dead people, you do in fact run the risk of piercing the veil, as they say, and bringing forth an entity. I didn't know that. I didn't know that going in. I mean, I'm not saying I regret it. I don't want to hurt his feelings. He's been through enough.
Well, it would be interesting then. I've run into my fair share of Southerners who are still making the claim that the Civil War was not about slavery. So perhaps you could do a poll and summon the ghost of Abraham Lincoln to find out whether or not that was his intent.
How exciting would that be? Here's my one concern about that, though. So, because I don't know how this works. Like, what if the ghost of Abe Lincoln were to appear, but I don't recognize him because, like, I don't know if when you go into the afterlife, if you bring your beard and your big hat
Right.
with you. So he could show up here and I might not know it's him if he doesn't have his beard and his big hat.
Yeah. Well, maybe you could ask him how old somebody who was 1 year older than 86. Maybe you could say, if you met someone and they were 86 and then the next day it was their birthday, how old would they be? And then if he says 87,
Oh,
then maybe then you would know
right.
that it was him.
That's a good idea.
Because who else would
can
answer
do
that
it.
way?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. The ghost of John McCain agrees.
McCain thinks, yeah,
They're probably hanging out, you know. I mean, they were both Republicans.
right?
So, you know.
Well, that's true, yeah.
Yeah, so there you go.
Is there a separate heaven for the Republicans?
Oh, I think heaven is for the Republicans, according to most of the Republicans I know. Like you,
okay.
like, you know, you get to heaven and you meet God, and he's got this big desk he sits behind with the giant portrait of Ronald Reagan on the wall behind him and a
All right.
big
Yep.
American flag. It's all very exciting.
Are there any porn stars up there? Just, in case.
I would guess no.
You wouldn't know?
I
Or you would say no?
I would guess that there are not.
No.
Okay.
Oh, the ghost of John McCain says no.
McCain is saying no. Okay.
Yeah, so there you go. There you go. So what is new with you, Doctor?
Well, I mean, when I was coming on the show all the time, you would continually ask me about my book, and I would keep saying, we're still editing it, it's not out yet, or whatever. But now it's finally out.
The book is out
For a couple of weeks.
Excellent.
The book is out.
Congratulations.
You can find it. You can go on my website, and there's a way to order it through that. You can go on Amazon. It's on Barnes & Noble. It's also at the Library of Congress, but you can't buy it from them.
Right.
But the name of so there are 3 books, actually. The main book is called Positive Parenting. So you'd search that title, and if you needed to fine-tune the search even more, my name is John D. Rich Jr.,
Yes.
so that would come up. So that's the main book. And then there's another book that goes along with it that's like a workbook, where over the course of the main book, I have activities for you to do, or journaling that I'm asking you to do, to try to think about how your parents raised you, and think about some behaviors that your child is exhibiting that you might want to address, etc. So that one is called Practical Parenting, and
Okay.
that's the workbook. And then there's a third book, and it's called How Did You Get Him to Eat That? And what that is so the main book walks you through a strategy for identifying a behavior that you'd like to see your child exhibit, and then how can you use some of the psychological techniques that I talk about to try to make that more likely to happen.
Okay.
So the eating book is an example. It's a small book that just takes that that issue. Like if one of your goals as a parent is to raise a child who will make healthy eating choices, then it walks you through how you would go through those steps to try to create that outcome.
Okay. Now, so when you say it's 3 books, is it a 3-book set, or is it 3 books bound together in one book, or how does that?
Well, so you can, so the main book is, the print version is $20, the ebook is $10, and then the workbook is, I believe, $16, and then the smaller book is $10.
Oh, okay.
But you don't have to buy them all together. You could buy just the main book if you wanted to, or you could buy the book and the workbook, which would probably be my recommendation. And then if the eating one appeals to you, then that's also, you can tie them together into a bundle, but you don't have to buy the whole bundle.
Oh, cool. Okay. All right. Very cool. Is this your first book, or, set of books or group of books, whatever the terminology would be?
It's my first book. It's my first book that is not an academic book.
Okay.
So I wrote a textbook at one point about research methods, which is really only obtainable if you're in academic circles.
Right.
So this is the first book that I've written for regular people who aren't academics. And the goal of the book and my website, which is drjohnrich.com, is to try to take the very latest research on effective parenting and then describe it by taking all the jargon out and just using plain language and stories and examples and stuff, because my opinion is that academics write things in academic journals, and the only people who ever get to see them are other academics.
Right.
And it just seems like there's a lot of great information that parents who want to raise good kids can have access to, but you have to pay to subscribe to those journals, and I don't have to pay because of my affiliation with the university, so I have access to them. And even if you did have access, a lot of people wouldn't be able to even decipher what is being said in a lot of the articles because of all the statistical language and all of the design vocabulary. And so I'm trying to give you the benefit of what the research is saying parents ought to do or things that they should consider without having to wade through the dictionary every 5 seconds.
Okay. Very good. Hello to Fred Bonig, who joins us in the Facebook live chat from the Daily Ripple. And Jenny,
Hello, Fred.
Jenny has a question. She says,
Jenny!
Yes. She says, how does he feel about those who wish to parent without gender? Oh, great question. Do you have a position on that?
Okay, so there's actually a section in the book that talks about gender, and so the spin that I would have on that is that if you raise children or if you yourself are tied into very strict gender stereotypes, you're missing out on a full human experience. So boys tend to be socialized when there's a problem to tough it out and to try to, be a man, stop being a crybaby, or worse, being called names that are basically saying you're being like a girl. And so they don't get the benefit of being able to fully express the feelings that they're having. And that's not good. That stunts people's growth to not be able to express their emotions.
Right.
On the other side, girls tend to be brought up, if they're brought up in a stereotypical fashion, when the girl is having a problem, a lot of times the parents will come in and rescue her. They don't necessarily try to work through the problem and ask her to be brave and courageous and try to figure out a solution to it. But instead they jump in and, treat her with kid gloves. And so as a result, she's allowed to express her feelings, but she doesn't get the benefit of what the boys are being taught. And it seems like both of those are important. We need kids to learn to face up to their problems and to be courageous, and also to be allowed to express the feelings that they're having along the way. So I don't know if that directly answers the question that she's asking, but that's how the book talks about gender roles.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I would think, and and as we've discussed, I'm not a parent. I have no children, but I would tend to think that I would want to, if I had children, raise them without necessarily a heavy emphasis on, imposing some sort of gender roles on them, but rather just kind of, if it's a boy and he wants to play with dolls, or if it's a girl and she wants to play with trucks. I mean, obviously that's a hypersimplification of things, but just saying that, it isn't something that I think needs to be forced or even particularly guided in any direction. You just kind of let that go naturally and let them be who they are. And, I don't know if I'm articulating that very well.
It always strikes me that when somebody goes into panic mode because the girl is too much of a tomboy or the boy is too much of a quote unquote sissy, and I'm not using that, putting it in quotes so that nobody thinks, that I'm using that and approving of that term.
Right, of course.
That to go into panic mode when that happens comes from the kind of antiquated idea that you can do certain things to make sure that people don't turn out to be gay or don't turn out to be lesbian, or that people who are not heterosexual or outside of the norm are deficient, or perhaps that's a mental illness or something like that. And none of that, the psych community doesn't believe any of that.
Right.
So there's no reason to be worried about a boy who's playing with dolls, because he's not necessarily attracted to dolls because he wants to come out of the closet.
Right.
He's using his imagination and the dolls are there.
Right.
But I might even say if he's playing with dolls and then later he ends up being gay, then okay, so he's gay. There you go. That's it.
Right.
And so what?
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, I agree. Jenny says yes, that did answer her question.
Good. Okay.
So it's great, but you said that there is a part about that in the book that you do address that.
There's an entire chapter that talks about gender issues, and I felt like it was necessary to talk about that because a lot of the writing that I do is advocating this idea of positive parenting, which by definition, in my opinion, means that you take spanking off of the table.
Yeah, agreed.
There's no reason to be using violence against your children, especially if one of your goals for your children is that they are peaceful people.
Right.
They're not going to learn that. In fact, that was your own father's message, right? You can't teach a child not to solve problems with violence if you're using violence to solve problems.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's what my mom my mom told me, that's why she and my dad, made a conscious decision before I was even born that they were not going to spank me, because they didn't want to teach me that that's how you resolve conflict is through hitting somebody. So I think that and I think they were correct.
To me, that's a fantastic example of what the point of the book is, which is just trying to encourage people to think intentionally about the traits and virtues and characteristics that you would like your children to possess when they grow up, and then to be consistent in your language and your behavior and your actions and the lessons that you're trying to teach, so that all seems like a pretty recognizable picture to them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So back to the gender issue, the reason the gender issue had to come up is because when I write about spanking, I invariably get trolls out there who say that I must be gay, or I'm going to make my kids gay, or something or other, whatever. And it got me thinking, like, oh, that's interesting that spanking, at least with boys, is kind of tied up with this idea, like, you got to make a man out of this kid. You got to make him tough, and like tough. No gay people can be tough. And I would submit to you that I know some gay people who are pretty tough. So that's
Sure.
out the window. But
Sure.
regardless of that,
Yeah.
As a result of writing all this stuff, that's when it started to really click for me that there's a lot of stuff with discipline and gender that's kind of conflated.
Yeah. I think too, and opinions vary on this because some people think it's some sort of choice, which I think is absurd. But I'm pretty sure that, regardless of what you do, there really probably isn't much, and if your kid turns out to be gay, like you said, so what? But regardless, there isn't much chance of there being anything that you can do as a parent that is going to actionably cause your child to be gay. Your kid's either going to be gay or they're not, and so people need.
Except, if you're in a very conservative religious community, you're definitely going to find people.
Oh,
in fact,
yeah.
I can think of somebody right now who would say that gay and lesbian, like all that stuff, that's not a characteristic of a person. That's a choice that they're making
Right.
to participate in that lifestyle, and that lifestyle is immoral. And to be honest, the Bible does say that gay people are going to hell, and it says that if you know a gay person, you should stone them to death. And
Oh yeah.
I don't know any conservative Christians who are advocating stoning them to death. So if you're going to take the Bible literally,
Right.
I don't want to get in trouble here by saying that I'm advocating that you go find somebody and stone them to death. But if you really feel like you got to take it as the literal word of God, it does say that.
Right.
And right after that, it tells you you're not allowed to eat shellfish.
Exactly.
So no lobster, no shrimp, none of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, folks, for whatever reason, who are really into the idea of taking the Bible literally, they tend to hyper focus on that one thing.
Gay part.
The gay part, yes. They're very, very, they're not concerned about, whether or not it's okay to eat shellfish. But they're very, very concerned about the gay thing. That is top of mind, for many of these folks for whatever. You might even say they're a bit preoccupied with it. I've always found that, quite fascinating. But,
and I don't know if you know this, but the Bible's also anti-masturbation. So
yes.
I don't know what about that? Why can't I think the conservative Christians should have a definite platform about no masturbating.
Right. Well, all I know is
where is that? Why? I would like to support that. I would like to donate to that campaign that Christians stop masturbating.
Well, all I know is I was once told by a urologist that it's actually very important to, and these were his exact words, quote, keep the pipes clean for your health and to avoid, and actually to help, and this is documented, to help avoid prostate issues like prostate cancer, for example. You're less likely to get it, apparently, if you, quote unquote, keep the pipes clean. So, but
so this is the only reason that you do it, I imagine, right? You're just following doctor's orders.
Well, if we don't want to. That's for the other. That's for the other show that I do. That's for Matt Connarton Unsheathed, and that's a very different show, and it's only available on the dark web and not here on FM radio, and I am legally prohibited from telling you how to find it. So, but that's but that's for.
Can I Am I allowed to ask John McCain? Did John McCain masturbate?
Oh well, I mean, I don't know if he,
He's not answering that.
I don't know if he wants to.
It's all about the future.
Yeah, he's only interested in the future. He's not interested in the past.
It's all about the future,
right?
What does that even
That
mean?
requires a cool hand at the tiller.
Oh, I think that's our answer. Yes. Well,
That requires a cool hand.
Talking
that's
to
funny.
talking to the ghost of John McCain, it's kind of like using a Ouija board. You don't get the answer you're looking for necessarily every time the first time. Sometimes you got to be a little bit patient.
Well, that requires a cool hand. It's pretty perfect. That's
yes.
great.
Yes, a cool hand at the tiller. Apparently, that's what he called it when he was with us. But so what else is there anything in the book that would surprise people in terms of topics that you address? Is there anything in there that a parent might read and go, oh wow, I'd never even considered this aspect of being a parent?
Oh boy, well, I don't know. I mean, that would be kind of I don't know that I'm saying anything that parents haven't heard before.
Yeah.
But I'm so I feel like what differentiates me from a lot of the parent bloggers who are out there in the space is that I'm actually a psychologist and I'm talking about the latest research. A lot of the bloggers are just kind of like complaining about their kids or making jokes or doing memes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying to provide a more substantial basis for why a person might choose these strategies that I'm providing. So, I mean, am I going to say anything where someone says that's never even crossed my mind? I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
I'd probably be more inclined to say that I'm going to say something in a way that you hadn't thought of it before, or I'm going to, like, the thing I like about psychology is that if you read something that really resonates with you, sometimes you think to yourself, like, I've thought that before in kind of a vague way, but there's something thrilling about seeing somebody put those words together in such a precise way that it, like, rings true. There's like an experience that you can have. And so I'm not necessarily going to say that the book is full of those moments, because that would be a pretty bold thing to say. But what I'm trying to do is try to take the things that I think most parents know are the part and parcel of raising good kids, and then provide some background and some stories and even some rationale for putting your best foot forward.
Okay, very good. Oh, hello to Ed Murphy, who joins us in the Facebook live chat. Ed typed a very funny comment that I'm not going to read on the air because I'm not going to push my luck with that, but it is in the Facebook live chat for those of you who are there. Well, very good. Now, so do you want to kind of? I don't know. I don't know if you're pressed for time at all, but I did want to ask you what else you wanted to, because we haven't talked for a while. Are you still writing for your blog and for Psychology Today and all that? Is that all ongoing?
Yes.
Great.
Right. So I've got the podcast at IPM Nation, and then I'm still writing for my site at drjohnrich.com. I'm writing for the Good Men Project. I'm writing for Psychology Today. It seems like I have a foot in the door to start writing for a site called Psych Central, which is the American Psychological Association's main page, and Manchester Inklink, which that column is still being updated. So I'm still doing my writing. I try to write something once every week or two. I'll probably be able to pick up the volume once the semester is over, which is in another month.
Okay.
Latest one, maybe we can talk about the next time I'm on the show, because I do probably have to go in the next couple minutes. But I wrote an article about the Brady Bunch. I was watching the Brady Bunch one day, and I was thinking to myself, well, I haven't seen this since I was pretty young. And I started noticing that a lot of the stuff that the parents were doing in the show was pretty good, especially considering that it was 1969 to 1973. I mean, that was a pretty long time ago.
Mike and Carol.
People were even
Mike and Carol were
about positive parenting.
They were good parents.
Yeah, they were pretty good. I mean, there are certainly episodes where they have some strategies that are more like trying to make the kids feel guilty, or
right.
There are times where they're not quite understanding what's going on, or they give some pretty poor advice. But for the most part, the show is a pretty good model of the kinds of things that you were looking for. So I wrote this article about a particular episode of the Brady Bunch. You can find it on Manchester Ink Link or, any of the other places that I mentioned. And then I broke it down and I was like, this is what the parents did. Like, here's the situation and here's what the parents did. And like, here are 4 things that I notice as a psychological researcher that the parents are doing right. And I focused on that. And within a couple hours, I got an email from Lloyd Schwartz, who is the son of Sherwood, who was the producer of the show. He also produced Gilligan's Island and a couple other things before that. And Lloyd produced the last 2 seasons with his father.
Oh,
he got in touch and said, I like the article, and a lot of people think that the Brady Bunch is kind of a joke, but there was some intentionality about the show trying to have good parents who were raising good kids. And
yeah.
So I invited him to be on the podcast, and my interview with him just went up last Friday. So
yeah.
if anyone wants to check that out, that's ipmnation.com. And then if you just go to /DJN for Dr. John's Neighborhood, that's the name of the show, then you'll see it there at the bottom. That's probably the easiest way to advise people on the radio to find it. But I got to interview Lloyd Schwartz about it. He gave me all sorts of background information about the show. He was the one that threw the football into Marsha's nose in that very famous episode where... Oh, you have that.
Yes.
Great. Yes. So
Marsha,
there was,
Marsha,
there's some
Marsha.
like behind the scenes information that he provided, and they're actually doing a renovation show now. I don't know if you know that, but
Who is?
like on HGTV. It's coming out in September, but they're filming it now.
Okay.
Where they bought a house in California, and then they're renovating it to look like the actual Brady house from the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then some of the cast members are there, in the episode and everything. So
Yeah.
So that was pretty exciting. It's like a little brush with greatness right there. And
Yeah.
but beyond that, the Brady Bunch is turning into a pretty interesting area. Like, I'm thinking that it might be interesting to start watching more shows especially more current shows that have parents in them, and trying to analyze, what are some good examples, or what are some things that happen that are clearly leading to some negative outcomes. And maybe that would be another way to try to write about these things in an accessible way for people.
Have you seen the show Modern Family?
I have not. I know about it.
Yeah, I mean, that just, when you're talking about a show like what you were describing, that was that came to mind. I think it's still going. I haven't seen it in a while, but I used to watch it, and that sounds like it might be right up your alley.
Yeah, I did write an article not too long ago about The Simpsons, and I talked about Homer.
Oh yeah,
as like an anti-dad.
Yes,
that Homer is basically the opposite of what you would want.
Right.
And that sometimes comedy is that. Comedy is displaying the worst of human behavior and then allowing us to feel superior to it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But I think that what I would like is, instead of, a lot of sitcoms, especially current ones and ones, in the past 10 years, in my opinion, the portrayal of the parents is just that they're complete morons or they're tangential to the script. It's not really about the parents. And so,
yeah,
anybody out there who has an idea about a show that is presenting a positive and nuanced approach to how parents can interact with their children, I'd be happy to have them send me an email or send you a message and you can forward it to me.
Absolutely.
I'm open-minded about it.
I hear people make that complaint, by the way, specifically about how, and it's usually more conservative-minded people who say this, but people complain about how fathers specifically, I don't hear them complain about how moms are portrayed, but how fathers are portrayed as sort of these clueless bumblers in a lot of these sitcoms, which there might be some truth to, but I don't think it's the terrible problem that they think it is.
Yeah.
But
well, one of the things about the Brady Bunch is that dad is a pretty strong father figure.
Yes.
He never hits his kids, but he raises his voice and he uses his authority. And as I was watching the show, because I watched every episode of the show when I dove into this.
Oh, wow.
And all in a very short amount of time, to try to absorb what I was seeing, what the patterns were.
Yeah.
And that show is pretty, in terms of gender equality and sexism, it's pretty bad.
Yeah. A product of its time in some ways, yeah. Sure.
It's a product of its time. But I just wanted to put that out there because Jenny asked the question about gender. And so here I am talking about how great the Brady Bunch, and I do want to acknowledge that the way that they handle gender, and then in the last season they have an episode about race that's actually pretty offensive in my opinion. They don't mean it to be offensive.
Right. I don't even remember
that. By today's standards, it's kind of, they have this family who lives in the neighborhood and they adopt 3 kids and one of them's white and one of them's Asian and the other one's black. And one of the neighbors is racist and has something to say about it, and the parents stand up to her. And so that part is pretty good.
I never even saw that episode. I wonder if I wonder if the stage, because I used to watch, reruns of the Brady Bunch when I was a kid on Channel 56 out of Boston up here. I wonder if they passed on that particular episode.
I don't know. There were definitely episodes that I saw when I was watching them all, and I was like, I barely remember this one. So I'm sure that the rotation, there's a lot of oh my nose, and the ones with the singing, and you broke mom's favorite vase. There are certain ones that probably get played an awful lot, and this one probably not.
Mom always said, "Don't play ball in the house." Hey,
exactly.
Wait, no, I think maybe I do remember that race episode though now, because isn't there a kind of a twist on it where the white kid that they adopted they actually got from the Bradys because they wanted to get rid of Oliver?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right.
Nope.
Oh, okay. I'm confused then.
But Oliver is pretty bad.
Yeah.
And, that's the interesting thing about Oliver is I remember him being just a pain in the butt and not likable at all.
Well, he was an interloper. It's like you're all settled in with this family, and then all of a sudden this extra dude shows up. I'm actually Facebook friends.
None of them were cute anymore, so you had to try to bring in a cute kid.
Right. Yeah.
So my recollection was that this, I didn't like this kid.
Right. Yeah.
And then when you watch it, he's only in 3 episodes. Doesn't he seem like he looms a lot larger because he's kind of tainting the waters? But he's only in 3 episodes.
I'm actually
he's barely there.
I'm Facebook friends with Robbie Rist, the actor who played Oliver.
Are you?
Yeah, I've never met him in person, but we have some mutual friends. Yeah, Robbie Rist is his name. Nice guy. But
can you try to get me in touch with him?
Oh, that's a good idea because you just did the interview with Lloyd J. Schwartz. That's a great idea. Yes, yeah. I will connect you with him. And one other question about that, because I know you got to go, but is it jarring when you're binge watching the Brady Bunch and all of a sudden there's this episode where all the males in the cast suddenly have perms?
Yeah, well, and the other thing is that Robert Reed, at a certain point, I think it's late in season 3, he not only gets the perm, which he keeps all the way through the end,
Yeah.
but every shirt that he wears, he has like three buttons unbuttoned. He's like,
yeah.
he's showing his chest a little much for a father with 6 children, in my opinion. It's a little risque.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it'd be one thing if
I don't know what John McCain would think about that, but
yeah. I mean, it would be one thing if it was just him and Mrs. Brady. But, you know, you got Alice there, too. It's like, you know, do you really want to be showing off the chest with a single lady in the house as well? You
I
know?
do know this. Jamming gaydar is not a federal responsibility.
I don't know what that has to do with anything, John.
I don't know what the connection is.
The Ghost of John McCain is very, very vulgar at times.
You know, that's an interesting statement, isn't it?
You know, he was like that in.
Look, I'm a big boy.
Well, I know, but you're out of control there, Ghost of John McCain. Well,
hey Matt, you need to teach me like how to get a hold of clips like that and stuff. That would be so funny to add to my show. If I don't know how to do any of that stuff, so maybe we can talk off the air. But.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, the easiest way is create some sort of online poll with the entity whom you wish to summon. And because from what I've read, they get kind of bored. You know, they don't even have bodies; they're just kind of floating around out there, and they need something to do. And then, you know, someone summons them, and then they show up, and then they haunt you forever. Which, you know, so it's a double-edged sword. But yeah, I'll help you. It is a double-edged sword. I'll help you with that. Absolutely. All right, Doctor. Well, thank you so much. Do you want to give your website one more time, and anything else you want folks to know?
Sure, it's drjohnrich.com. That you don't spell out the word doctor; it's just drjohnrich.com. I'm actually currently looking for people who want to contribute. If you have a parenting story of your own, or something that you're interested in writing about, or something that you're interested in having me write about, I'm looking for some contributors at this moment. And then the book is called Positive Parenting. The easiest way to find that would be on Amazon.
All right. Fantastic. Well, we do need to get back to doing this more often, because this is always a pleasure.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. You know, whenever's convenient for you, we'll make it happen. And this has been great. It's great to talk to you. And congratulations again on getting the book out. That's wonderful. So
thanks. I'll reach out to you real soon about Robbie Wrist. And the sound stuff, and scheduling another appearance.
All right. You got it, brother. Sounds great.
Great.
All right, John.
Thanks a lot.
All right. You got it. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. That was Dr. John D. Rich Jr. It was nice to talk to him again. I could have talked to him longer, but I think he,
Something suddenly came up.
Yes.
IPMNation.com.